I'm Jenny Gage, and this is Life Take Two. Why are so-called conservative Christian men so transphobic? The answer isn't obvious, and I think a lot of people get it wrong. Transphobia is not fear of trans people. It's fear of losing male certainty, male dominance, and male sexual entitlement. This is power anxiety. Trans people expose the fact that gender is constructed, fake, and that terrifies systems that are built on natural order, like God created, divinely appointed natural order. Christian nationalism needs gender to be fixed, obvious, and divinely enforced, because if gender is flexible, even just a little bit flexible, then hierarchy is optional, obedience is optional, and the patriarchy is optional. I spent the first 4.5 decades of my life inside the alt-right, and today I'm going to spill all their trans tea all over my screen. Sensitive content warning: if you're trans or have trans people in your life that you love and care about, this video might hurt your heart. So take care of your emotional health, put it on pause, and walk away and give somebody a hug if you need to. I'm going to play a video for you first, and I do need to point out that Starboy, whose name is Zach Wilmore, who I follow over on TikTok, isn't trans. But what happens in this video is because the other guy in the video, his name is Jackson, with an X. He thinks he's trans. He doesn't know the difference. But Starboy Zach does identify himself by the pronouns he, him.
Yeah, take a fucking picture of me.
Take a video. Take what you're defensive.
Yeah, I don't like a dude with fucking, show your face, fucking pearls on his eyes. Yeah, I don't like this shit. In my men's bathroom, showing your fucking chest like a girl, like a fucking girl, dressed like a girl, fucking belly button, fucking rings like a girl.
You know what, too? I used the stall because I didn't want any fucking
problems. Because you're a fucking bitch. You're a fucking girl.
And the thing is, they don't want transgender women. I'm not transgender, by the way. But they don't want transgender women to use the women's bathroom. They don't want gay men to use the men's bathroom. I got all this piss on the floor.
If you want to,
because I'm a fucking boy.
Please, please.
So this is a real life thing. Zach went into a public restroom, and as he was being accosted by Jackson with an X from Missouri, he pulled out his phone to record the incident and then posted it to his social media. So Jackson with an X from Missouri, here's a photo from his socials. This part makes sense to all of us, right? First, I want to say, Zach, if you ever watch my video, which I doubt you ever will, but just in case, I know that Trump probably made this illegal and you're not supposed to, but just come in the girls' restroom next time. Like, I'll share my mascara with you and then we can go buy coffee. I'll pay. It's on me. One thing that jumped out at me from what Jackson with an X said was when he made fun of the fact that Zach was showing his chest like a girl. That's the quote, like a girl. So let's spend just a minute looking at other men who have shown their chests like girls. And I'm going to even add another layer: chests like girls and skirts. I live in the desert Southwest. I'm surrounded by Navajos. They are some of the most attractive men that I've ever laid eyes on. And I'm sorry, but if I was like, I don't know who the Navajos went to battle against, the Apaches, if I was like part of an Apache war party and I came across one of these guys, the long hair, the face paint, the jewelry, my Navajo friends, the men wear long, dangly earrings for the most part and have even longer hair than I do. Okay, back to the chests like girls. Jamie from Outlander here. It's actually my favorite part of Outlander when he's like wounded or something and has to rip that shirt off and his chest is always showing. It shows off unless it's wintertime in Scotland or South Carolina. Then he takes it off. This character is so hot that I asked for a poster of him for my birthday last year, didn't get it, was considering pinning it to my ceiling above my bed. Egyptians. We used to spend summers on Maui, and some of the Tonga men in our Mormon wards wore skirts. Some of them were long, some of them were kind of shorter. So some of these Tongans in our ward there on Maui were like BYU football players during the school year, and they would wear their little like white button-down missionary shirts, but without a tie, just kind of open on top. And let me tell you, these Tongan football players with their tan legs and their little skirts, like, honey, I don't know if I can finish this video. I may need to take a little break here and go cool off. This summer, I bought Kevin a skirt for the Scottish concert since I'm a quarter Scot, and he is so hot in this skirt. So at home, I've had him wear it around a couple times, like with no shirt on, like just the skirt, tall socks, and then sometimes the hat, sometimes not the hat. And at home, it's undies optional. Okay, this one's not in a skirt. He's wearing jeans, but Adam Levine at the Super Bowl a few years back, when he ripped that shirt off and showed us his whole entire chest, like a girl in that California tattoo across his stomach. Adam, you can rip your shirt off and show your chest like a girl any day of the week, please. I think that we can all agree that this all looks very manly, right? So what's this about? It's actually about this. Being gay is evil, and men are supposed to be on top of everything forever. To further explain, let me introduce you to the Transphobe Loop. So gay sex is a sin. Can't do that. Will go to hell. Also, men are at the top. The Bible says so. Adam and Eve help meet. Adam rules over Eve. Natural order, man at top, and then we go right back to gay sex is a sin, can't do that, we'll go to hell. So let's figure out how that was at play in the bathroom here with Zach and Jackson with an X. So these MAGA Christians hate all gay people, lesbians and gay men, even those that present as their gender at birth. But they especially hate trans even more. And that's because it's not obvious what gender they were at birth. And every alt-right guy is afraid of having gay sex because of, let's refer back to the Transphobe Loop here. Gay sex is a sin. Can't do that. We'll go to hell. So how's that apply to trans? When you play a casual game of football and you don't have uniforms, and so you do shirts and skins, so you know what team you're on. Our gender expression is really just a uniform. It shows what team we're on and specifically who we can mate with. Are we an innie or an outie? And innies, we've decided, wear skirts and eyeliner and apparently have their chests showing. Outies wear jeans and camo hoodies and short hair and beards. Now, men, as we know, are always trying to get down everybody's pants based on data, not just my own personal experience, although I do have a really good Substack article on the topic that I just dropped this week called My Objectified Life. It's a free read, link in description. So men need it to be obvious who they can objectify at the bar. To shine a light on this, I'd like to share with you a real life actual conversation that I had with a real life family member not too long ago. This family member is single and in his 50s and hates trans people, and we just happened to have a conversation about it one day because he had seen one of my videos supporting trans people. So he took the opportunity to call me out and have this wild conversation. So then I had the opportunity to ask him what he had against trans people. He said he was terrified that he'd accidentally get on Tinder, go on a date with somebody, and then make out with a man who is dressed as a woman. If they'd actually surgically transitioned and have lady parts, he was terrified of accidentally having sex with a trans woman who is actually a man. And why is he terrified of that? Let's refer back to the Transphobe Loop. Gay sex is evil. Can't do that. We'll go to hell. And it was not just this one wacky family member having this conversation that I've heard this from my entire life. This has been a conversation. I've heard this from conservative Christian men for as long as I've been alive. Gay sex is a sin, straight to hell. So if it's a thing for men to dress like women and now we no longer know who's who, I could accidentally go to hell without even knowing. Okay, so the next bit is the men on top thing. MAGA Christians believe in gendered hierarchy. We actually had this artwork within the Mormon church that I always thought was like so beautiful. And it's like women and children at the bottom and like God and the prophet and all these people on top. And now I just hate this. It makes me so angry, but I'm a woke raging feminist. So here's how the conservative Christian hierarchy goes. Obviously, God is at the very top, and he's obviously a man since men made him up. Think of all the men on top, from the Pope and the Mormon prophet and pastors and cardinals. And, most of these churches are run by men. The president, the founding fathers, most of the inventors that they tell us about, like all of the important people at the top are men. We live in a patriarchy. Lucky us. I don't need to explain this to my audience. So we have this whole me Tarzan, you Jane thing. Me on top, you on the bottom. Sexual hierarchy. And the sexual hierarchy makes men feel more important than they actually are. I had an actual Sunday school class discussion years and years ago in Mormon church where the teacher said that trans women are an abomination because they choose to defy God's hierarchy and place themselves intentionally at the bottom, which is where the women belong. While we're on this topic about intentionally being on the bottom, and that's an abomination, I know that this is TMI, but I was never on top. Never. You know what I mean? Like ever, ever, ever until, I don't know, like maybe 10 years into our marriage. I actually saw it in a movie, and it was like a PG-13 movie, so it wasn't like super explicit or anything, but the girl was on top in a bedroom scene, and I tried it, and my husband didn't like it at first. We didn't have the internet back then, so we didn't know about all the stuff that you kids knew about. So both of these reasons are why Trump and his puppet masters are anti-trans. They don't want anybody to accidentally have gay sex. And they're trying to get rid of women's rights so they can up the birth rate and take back their place at the top of everything. Trans women offend conservative Christian men because they hate a man who steps out of the hierarchy and looks like he might enjoy being on the bottom. It threatens their place at the top. But wait, there's more. Men not wearing skirts and makeup and long hair is not only misogynistic and backwards, it's also racist. Pants are a more modern technology. In India, under the industrializing British Empire, this outfit right here is what the capitalistic white factory owners wore. Suits and top hats and their little vests and their starched shirts and all that. Women and brown people wore skirts and paint and jewelry. As I discussed in my MAGA face video, humans are weird. And we like to wear things just to prove to everybody that we're better than them. So wearing an expensive, more technologically advanced pair of factory-made trousers proved you were better than a simple peasant who wore a less technologically advanced skirt. A lot of our gender expression today is still white, industrialized capitalism expression based on technology in the clothing industry, which is both racist and classist. But it makes men feel better. And we all exist to prop the patriarchy up so they don't have to have emotions and deal with their issues communally and repair our tribes and repair their own mental health. They don't want to have to do that. They have more important things to do. Men are supposed to spend all their time ruling the world and not have any luxury time for hair and makeup. And they're naturally superior and don't need any makeup, and they're just the best and can afford fancy trousers. So back to what happened with Starboy in the bathroom and Jackson with an X and the facial glitter. This is capitalism superiority combined with Christian beliefs. So once again, the why behind this bathroom scene is Christian globalism. I'm sure Jackson with an X is part of some Turning Point-like groups, a good backwoods church with a hateful pastor that confirms his fear of facial glitter and exposed male chests. Jackson with an X has this transphobe loop embedded in his brain, and all he's thinking in that bathroom is, I don't want to accidentally have gay sex, and I don't want men to be at the bottom of the hierarchy. So no, this isn't about bathrooms, biology, or protecting anyone. Transphobia isn't about God, sex, or safety. It's about hierarchy. And in my opinion, any system that requires other people to disappear so it can survive deserves to be demolished. So I say it's time we burn this thing to the ground and start over. I'd love to hear what you think on the topic. I'll be hanging out in the comments, and I will drop the link to my merch in the description. My Spread Toxic Empathy shirt is my #1 bestseller, followed closely by Fuck the Patriarchy. They both make amazing Valentine's gifts. Thanks for watching. Mwah.